Hello everyone and welcome to Slay the Spire on Storpy. This game was kindly gifted to me by Collie. Thank you so much, Collie. I've had such a good time on this. I've had 19 hours in it already over a very short amount of time, and I thought I'd do a couple of videos on it to share what I think is an incredible game. I'll be playing as a new, play file. Don't know why it's on 0.1% already, but there you go. Yeah. We're going to start. So, embark on a quest to slay the Spire. You've got a choice between 3 different characters. When you first begin, you can only start with one character, called the Ironclad. You have 80 health, 99 gold. Remaining soldier of the Ironclad sold his soul to harness demonic energies. He starts with a relic called Burning Blood. At the end of combat, heal 6 HP, and there's various stuff to unlock. So, let's embark. I'm playing with a controller, which isn't always the best way to do it for streaming, but there you go. So the first thing you see is this screen. It shows you your path. So you're going to be going to each and every one. Well, you're going to be going to each of these rooms on a path leading upwards. And at the end, there's going to be a boss. And there's going to be 3 of these maps, each one called an act. There are various different rooms you can see on the legend on the left. You've got unknown rooms, which may encounter monsters, treasures, shops, or just events. Merchants, which are shops essentially where you can buy new things and remove cards from your deck. This is a card building game, we'll get to that. Treasure chest rooms, rest rooms to heal and upgrade your cards, enemy rooms, which are the most numerous, and then elite rooms, which are where there are elite enemies. So we start at the bottom and we can choose our path. Best thing to do generally is to look up and see that you've got some rest sites, some of those campfires, because otherwise you're going to be in trouble if you get too many enemies and you can't heal up. So let's go somewhere with a shop a little bit further on. The merchant's up there. That gives us a nice bit of elites to fight as well up that track, and a shop and some rests and things. Let's go this way. Now, I'm not saying I'm amazing at this game, by the way. I've only played, as I say, nearly 20 hours of it. I've completed it on each character once, but completing it takes a lot longer than just that, so we'll see. You defeat enemies by playing cards from your hand. Cards require energy, so it's a deck building game where you play cards. It's very simple, you've seen this before. Once you are out, you end your turn, and all your cards go away. At the start of your turn, new cards are drawn and your energy is replenished. You play defensive cards to gain something called block, which is essentially armor. Block reduces incoming attack damage but wears off at the start of your next turn. During your turn, you can observe an enemy's intent above them, so you can see every single turn what the enemy plans to do, and that's why this game is interesting and different, because you can plan accordingly based on what the enemy's about to do. So, for example, that enemy is going to be attacking for 10 damage, so it would be good to get some block for up to 10 block. I'm ready. Here we go. So I'm on the left. Enemies on the right. I draw my 5 cards. You can see down in the bottom left there, we've got our draw pile. That shows what is left. This is our entire deck. In the top right, you can see we have a deck size of 10. That's what that thing up there says. And we can see our entire deck there. And in the bottom right will be our discard pile, but that's currently empty. So, if we have a look at this, we've got we've got a defend card, which costs 1 energy. You can see our energy in the bottom left there as well, 3 out of 3. And that replenishes each turn, so we can gain 5 block, which will negate 5 damage that this enemy is planning to do to us. So as you can see, aggressive, he's going to be doing 11 damage. So it would be nice if we blocked some of that. So let's start off by gaining 5 block. There you go. Goes in our discard pile down on the right, and you can see we have got 5 block there. Now, we've got 2 energy left, so that means we can either do... we could end our turn here if we wanted, but I don't think we're going to. We can't block anymore, sadly, because we didn't draw any of the other 3 defend cards that we have in our thing. That's just luck of the draw. We could do a bash. What this does is 8 damage, and it applies something called 2 vulnerable, which means in future, for 2 rounds, that's this round and next round, so 2 rounds, all attacks I do, you can see, will do 50% more damage to that jaw worm. So we could do that and then lose the rest of our strikes. So it's 8 damage and then more next turn. And we know we've got 2 strikes next turn, so that could be really useful. Or we could just do 12 damage by doing 2 individual strike cards. I think we'll do the 8 damage and have more damage ready next turn, so bash. And there you go. You can see he is now vulnerable for 2 turns, and that will tick down. So that heart under his name, or under his health bar, will go down to 1. You can see all these energies. I don't have enough energy. There you go. And it's going to keep on giving me the tutorials. Cards require energy to play. This orb on the bottom left indicates how much energy you have remaining for the turn. So I'm going to press Y to end my turn, and he gets his go. He attacks for 11. As you can see, we take 6, but the 5 in blue was what we blocked. So there we go. Now what's he doing? He's going defensive. This enemy intends to block, so he's going to do much what I did last turn with my defend cards. And he's going to use a buff, which will do something. Generally, a buff makes them stronger for next turn or whatever. So since he's not doing any damage to me this turn, I can go all out on my attack, and that's why that why that vulnerable bash thing was useful, because now instead of 6 damage, each of my strikes does 9 damage. So I've got an extra 6 damage out of it. Let's do those. And then, well, we've got 1 energy left. Let's just throw one of those up. Sometimes it's wise not to use up all your energy, but that's later on in the game. He does a bellow, and right, he's blocked. Ooh. If there are no more cards to draw, your discard pile is shuffled into the draw pile. Got it. There you go. All my cards are recycled. So you lose all of your cards at the end of each turn, which is interesting. You don't get to retain them, unless you get special cards later on. So, what's he planning to do this time? He intends to block and attack. So he already has 6 blocks, so any damage I do to him will be reduced by 6, or the first damage I do to him will be reduced by 6. So if I do that 6 damage, all that will do is get rid of that block that he's got on. So, we've got to think about what we want to do here. If we did that, no. What we should do, I think, is just... So yeah, his buff, strength. He has buffed himself to increase his attack damage by 3, and that will last for the rest of this combat. So for as long as he's alive, that will remain. So I could do 8 damage and apply 2 vulnerable. What that will do is deal 2 damage to him, because that 6 block he's got will eat up 6 of the damage. So it'll do 2 damage to him and apply 2 vulnerable. So vulnerable means they take... Yeah, so he'll be on 12 health, and then if I did the strike with my remaining 1 energy, that is going to do 9 damage, and he'll be left on 3 health, and he will hit me for 10 damage. So I don't want him to hit me for 10 damage, so I will get the 2 blocks in, do a strike for absolutely no damage. It gets rid of his block, but that would have disappeared at the end of this turn anyway. But at least this time, we can take our time. He's going to try hitting us, that's fine. He's blocked as well, which is a shame. But this time you can see he is not intending to attack. So we can just go all out. Damage, damage, damage. Strike, strike, strike. Since he's not attacking us, we don't need to bother using defend. He's on 1 health, and he's blocking and buffing. So there's his buff. He's now up to 6 strength, which means each of his attacks does 6 extra damage, which is scary because, look, he's now attacking for 17. So as you can see, he will get out of control if we don't deal with him quickly. But we've got 3 strikes in our hand. This one's going to do 6 damage, negating all of that block. And then kill him with the last one. Lovely jubbly. So you see something just happened there. If you look up in the top left there, Burning Blood. At the end of combat, heal 6 HP. Those are called relics, and you pick those up throughout the game. This character starts with Burning Blood, so if I lose some health on this character, it doesn't matter quite so much because I will always heal 6 at the end of the combat. So that's nice to have. So I gained some gold for killing him. You can see that in the top there. Gold is the currency within the spire. I get a potion as well. You've got space for 3 potions. There you go. Potions. Drink or throw them during combat. They stay with you between runes. And if we look up there, this is a fire potion, and if I throw it at a monster, it will do 20 damage to it. So these are quite useful for fighting elite monsters or bosses, or if you're in a tricky situation. And then at the end of each combat, you get to add a card to your deck. Now, this is where the game has its meat and potatoes, as it were, because it's where you get to start choosing how your deck looks. Now, I've never usually been that good at deck building. So here's our current deck. We start with 5 simple attack cards, each dealing 6 damage. We have 4 defend cards, which each block for 5 block. And then we have that bash, which costs a bit more, but does a bit more damage and does the vulnerable, which makes them take more damage from attacks. So we can start adding things. So we've got 3 options here. There's one that costs 0 here, and it's blue. You can see it's got a blue border, which means it's, I think, uncommon. Deal 7 damage and shuffle a Dazed into your draw pile. So Dazed are cards that, yeah, they suck. They're unplayable, basically. They're status cards. So what that means is I'll deal 7 damage for 0 energy, which is great, but into my draw pile, so next turn or the turn after or whatever, I will be drawing this card that I can't play that takes up a space in my hand. So I'm not sure whether I want that unless I start trying to build my deck around huge amounts of instant damage, so I'm not recycling these Dazed cards too much. Then there's Cleave, deal 8 damage to all enemies. That's quite nice because then, yeah, you're doing 8 damage to everyone. If there are 3 enemies there, 1 energy will do 8 damage, and that's pretty good. Then there's Sword Boomerang, deal 3 damage to a random enemy 3 times. That could be quite good as well, especially if there are more than 1 enemy, but that's also powerful for if there's just the 1. So what do we want to do? It's difficult to say at this stage, and you don't want to overbuild your deck either. If you just take every card you see... Oh, this is a choice, by the way. We've got to choose between one of these 3. If you take every card you see, you end up with a bloated deck that doesn't have any direction, and that's what I've learned in this game. The fact that the first few times I played, I just took every card I came across, thinking, oh yeah, more cards, more. But it's great to be able to remove cards and really refine it to make it look amazing. I think we're going to go with Sword Boomerang. I've not really ever tried this before. No, should we try just going for absolute massive damage with Reckless Charge, just to see? No, let's not. Let's go Sword Boomerang. 3 damage to a random enemy 3 times, and we can up that later on. That could be interesting. Okay. Then we move on to the next room. So you can see it's going to be a long journey up the spire. Right. New battle. So this guy intends to buff. And that's so useful, having that little thing above his head. Okay, so he's going to use a buff. So he's not going to attack us this turn, so we can go all out. Smack. Smack. And I'll throw in a defend because we've got the energy, even though it will fall off at the end of this turn. And so there's no point in the way. Okay, so his buff was something called Ritual. There you are. Ritual. At the end of its turn, gains 3 strength. So this is now a timed fight. We want to kill him as quickly as possible, because at the end of each turn, he's going to get an extra 3 strength, which does an extra 3 damage on each of his attacks. So he's going to attack for 6. I know I heal for 6 at the end of my combat, and I've got quite a attack-heavy hand here. So I've got 2 regular attack cards, but then I've got my special attack card here, the one I just got, Sword Boomerang, and I've got Bash as well. So I'm thinking what I'm going to do is take that 6 damage that he plans to do to me, since it will heal later, and since I've got a good time here, and it's, yeah, Bash, like that. Now he is vulnerable and takes 50% more damage from attacks for 2 turns. That's great. So I'll do this one. Now you can see it will do, because it's 50% extra damage rounded down, it's actually going to be 4 damage 3 times. So that'll add up to 12. This would be 9 if I did that turn. So let's definitely do the Sword Boomerang. Very nice. So now he's only on 18 health. We might be able to kill him next turn, especially since he's still got the vulnerable debuff. Sorry if I'm over-explaining this, by the way, but I know I've watched a couple of videos on this and people have been very, very quick in explaining things, and it's quite difficult to keep up. So, this turn, he's only on 18 health. He still has vulnerable, so our attacks are going to do more damage. He plans to attack for 9, but I reckon we can kill him before that. Watch this, yeah. So, Strike is going to deal 9 damage, and another Strike is going to deal another 9 damage. And he's dead. Even though he was starting to get the 3 extra strength each turn, we finished him off really quickly. So we get 14 gold, and what else do we get? So we've got another choice of cards. There's Whirlwind, so you've got an X up there. So what that's saying is, however much energy you have, whether it's 3, 2, 1, or even more, it will deal 5 damage to all enemies that number of times. So if I use that at the start of my turn when I've got 3 energy, it will do 15 damage to every single enemy, which is quite powerful. But then again, I might not want to, because I might want to use my energy on block. So then there's disarm. The enemy loses 2 strength. And that's for the whole combat. So that's quite good. So that means every single one of their attacks will do 2 less damage. I mean, that's okay, I guess. I don't know if I really want... And then exhaust means that you remove that card. It goes into your exhaust pile. And that essentially means you don't use it for the rest of that entire fight. So that seems alright, but I don't know. I'd probably rather do damage than that. And then True Grit gains 7 block. So that's quite good. 7 block for 1 energy is pretty good. But then you've got to exhaust a random card in your hand. So you'd really want, and again, exhausting is removing that card until the end of combat, so you don't get it again this fight. So I don't like, I've seen that come up a few times, and I'm not sure if I really like that. There are builds in this that you can do. There are other cards that give you bonuses for each card you exhaust, so that could really help if I had something like True Grit. You know, it's constantly exhausting cards and then I'd get extra damage or something like that. But I don't think I want to build around that. I think we'll go for Whirlwind. You can actually skip. I press B here, you skip. You can press Y and skip the card entirely. I don't like any of them, which is often useful to do. However, I think I'll go Whirlwind, because that could be really useful to have that AoE, area of effect damage, where I can hit more than one thing at once. Right. Onto the question mark room. What is it? It's an event of some sort. As you walk into the room, you hear a gurgling and the grinding of metals. Before you is a slime-like creature that ate too much scrap for its own good. From the centre of the creature you see glints of strange light. Perhaps something magical? It looks like you can get some treasure if you just reach inside its opening. However, the acid and sharp objects may hurt. So I can either just leave and ignore the strange goopy creature, or I can reach inside it, lose 3 health, and have a quarter of a chance of finding a relic. I think we'll do that. Okay, ouch, all you find is corroded metal and a bit of burning pain. However, you're still convinced that there is a relic. So I can do it again, put my arm in deeper, lose 4 health, and I've got a 35% chance of finding a relic. Ah, there you go. I was going to say I'm going to keep on going for that, because relics are quite powerful, and I can always regain the health at another time. And I've just realised it's quite dark in here, isn't it? Let me just sort that out. Put my lights on. Ah, that's a bit better. Tip, relics. Relics found throughout the Spire grant unique bonuses and remain throughout your run. They can be found by defeating powerful foes or within chests, or by reaching into the inside of an ooze and yanking it out. So what is it? We've got our Burning Blood already, and this is a fossilized helix. Prevent the first time you would lose health each combat. That's really nice. So every single combat, especially if someone goes out and tries to hit me for 20 on the first hit, it would prevent that. So that's really nice. Damage mitigation. Right, we've got another question mark room. You spot a loose brick within a pillar that catches your eye. Continue. Okay, you find a folded note and a card inside. It reads, "The heart awaits." This is your handwriting. Okay, so what this event is, I believe, is you can take the card out and you can swap cards between runs. Whenever you get this event, if I put a card in there now, this was the card I left last time. Was it? Because this is a new run, a new, user campaign altogether. So yeah, each time you do this, you could store a super powerful card on a really good run and then get it in future. I'm going to... Actually, no, that's really good, isn't it? I will receive Iron Wave because it's better than Defend, isn't it? Because Defend, I've got 1, it costs 1 energy, and you can see Iron Wave down in the bottom right there. Gain 5 block, this is 5 block, Defend, but Iron Wave also does 5 damage, so yeah, let's totally do that. Swap it for that one. What is going on? So it's a little bit of a meta game kind of thing, which is interesting, but there you go. Right, so we've got either the merchant or we've got another enemy. I don't have a lot of gold, so I'm not going to bother with the merchant at the moment. I'm going to go straight for the enemy, which means that then I've got the choice after that of going on to an elite or a an elite or a rest place. So we'll go the enemy first. Gives us more choice. Okay, these little dudes. Right, there. First of all, we've got a little buff ourselves there, which comes from the fossilized helix. Prevent the next time you would lose HP. So that's going to prevent the first attack, which is 7 damage, and then I'm going to have to block for the 5 coming from that louse. I keep thinking that says Louise, the name of the the name of the monster. So let's block for 5, like that. So that means I'm going to take no damage this turn, which is great. Then I'll heal 6 at the end and hopefully go up to 79. Then we've got 2 more energy to spend. These guys, they've got something called Curl Up. So when they receive attack damage, they're ready to immediately roll up and gain 6 block. Or 5 block in that one's case. So I think what I'm going to do is 3 damage to a random enemy 3 times. No, I don't want to do that. I'm going to hit... Yes, I will do this. No, I won't. See, if that does it randomly, it might not hit the same one 3 times in a row. And then that means that basically it could bounce off each of them and activate both their blocks. I think what I'm going to do instead is hit that one for 6. There you go. And he's got his curl up, which means that now he's sort of curled up and is blocking for 6. So if I did 6 damage to him now, it would be completely a waste of time because all it would do is get rid of that block, which is going to drop off at the end of this turn anyway. So I'm going to hit you for 6, get rid of that curl up buff, and then they've got their block. I don't care about that. It will fall off at the end of the turn. There you go. He does 7 damage to me. Oh, it didn't quite work the way I thought it would. That's fine. Because, of course, the block comes before the buffer. Never mind. Well, I took 2 damage, so that's even better. No, it's not. It's worse, but that's fine. Ooh, here we go. So I've got loads of different things I could do here, but I think I'm going to use Whirlwind. Do 15 damage to all enemies. And that's the power of Area of Effect. We heal for 6, get 19 gold, and we add a new card to our deck. Okay. I like Shrug It Off. For 1 energy, you get 8 block and you draw a card. That's really, really good, really, really powerful. There's also Flex, gain 2 strength, and then at the end of this turn lose 2 strength, but it costs 0 energy, so that means I could just, all my attacks would do 2 extra damage. I think I'm going to... So if you imagine the Sword Boomerang, for example, if I used that Flex, for 1 energy I'd be doing 5 damage to a random enemy 3 times. And indeed Whirlwind, if I used it, I could then be doing 7 damage to all enemies 3, 2 or 1 times. I think I'm going to take Flex. I think that's really good. I haven't got access to a lot of cards I'm used to, which is interesting. Right. Should we go for an elite? I think we go for an elite. Scary, scary. Oh, it's this guy. Okay, so this is hilarious because his name is Gremlin Knob. Let's just get over that first of all. Ha 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 ha. So he's planning to buff. So we don't need to worry about doing any blocking this turn. So let's get as much damage gone on him as possible. We'll do this. Gain the 2 strength. You'll see what happens. There you go. So, strength. Attack. Increases attack damage by 2. And at the end of this turn, we'll lose 2 strength. So, that's fine. There you go. So now I can do 5 damage to him 3 times. That's 15 damage for 1 energy, which is really great. And then a strike, which is 8 damage, and then another strike, which is another 8 damage. And I'm tempted to use this. I could throw the potion, the fire potion at him. Getting 20 off. Nope, we can save that and see if we need it. Let's end our turn. We lose that strength. He buffs. And the buff is horrible on another character, but not so bad on this one. So, it's called Enrage. So whenever I play a skill, this guy gains 2 extra strength. So if I keep on defending, right, so I'll gain 5 block, but his attack will increase by 2 damage, which is not the best. I think we just eat the damage and try and get him down as fast as possible, because every time I do this, it's only going to be essentially blocking by 3, isn't it? Because it'll increase his attack by 2, because this is a skill card, you can see just under the title. under the picture. And these, of course, are attacks. Okay, let's hit him with a bash, which does 8 damage and now makes him vulnerable. So future attacks will deal more damage, 9 for that. And then I think we will use the fire potion. This won't do extra damage, it won't do more than 20, but it will just get him down further, so hopefully next turn I can kill him. I won't use it yet. I still won't use it yet, just because I might get really good cards next turn and be able to kill him in one go. Oh, and I'd forgotten about that, see? I had that Fossilized Helix buffer, which meant that the first attack damage I take in a combat does nothing. So that's awesome. That didn't hurt at all. Aha! 5 damage to all enemies 3 times. I'm not sure why that's not... Because he's vulnerable. I'm not quite sure why that's not saying 7. 7. Yeah, 7 damage. Like, this is going up by half, and this is going up by half. So if I applied another 2 vulnerable to him, that doesn't make him more vulnerable, because you can see he's already got the 1 under his thing there. He's got that for 1 turn. What it will mean is that it adds 2 more rounds of him being vulnerable, which is quite good. I think what I'm going to do, though, because I could probably kill him this turn, this is going to do 12 damage to him, which will take him down to 26. Yeah, that's much more energy efficient, isn't it? 12 damage rather than, I think, 21 damage, yeah. But that's going to cost, 3 energy for 21 damage, or 1 energy for 12 damage. I think that's better. So, we're going to do that. Then we're going to deal another 9 there. See, and another good thing about Iron Wave is it's an attack that gives me block, so he's not going to enrage and get more strength from me using this. I don't think we will use the fire potion. I think we'll use Iron Wave, deal 7 damage, getting him down to 10. We'll gain 5 block. He's only going to do now 9 damage to us, which is quite a bit, but I'd like to keep the fire potion, honestly. Right, so he's done 9 damage to us. Ouch. But this turn, hopefully we can kill him. Ooh. Not sure we can. Shit, we can't. Okay, that's fine. So what we're going to do is gain 2 strength, which means our strike will now do 8 damage. Sadly, he's got 2 health left. But he's only attacking for 8 damage this time, and he's going to do a negative effect on us as well. So I guess what we'll do is just block. And you can see he's gained 2 strength from us using that skill card. I'm going to do it again. He's gained another 2 strength, but at least this time we're negating 10 of that 12 damage, so we'll only take 2. See, I could have saved myself a lot of hassle by just using that potion, but potions are valuable. Right, so the debuff he's applied to us, the negative effect, is vulnerable. So now I'm going to take 50% more damage from attacks for 2 turns, which is why he's doing 18 to me. But that's okay, because we can kill him with this. He's only got 2 health. Down goes an elite, and an elite drops more gold and always drops a nice relic for you. And here's the relic, a pair. Upon pickup, raise your max health by 10. Look up in the top left there at my health. Bosh, it's now 90, which is great. Add a new card. Tip, power cards. This card applies a power to you when used. Powers are passive abilities that remain for the duration of the combat. Got it. So yeah, as it said, there's another one there as well. So you put that on, and then it's like a buff on you for the rest of the entire fight, the entire combat. These power cards. So what have we got? Juggernaut. Whenever you gain block, deal 5 damage to a random enemy. That's really useful if I've got loads and loads of cards and abilities that give me lots of block. At the moment I don't, and I don't think I'm really building a deck around that. I think I'm building more of a deck around doing big attack damage with strength and stuff. At the moment, it's difficult to say because of the randomness to begin with. Then there's Rupture, which is another power for 1 energy. Whenever you lose health from a card, gain a strength. That's quite interesting because I could get cards that take health off me, and that would give me strength each time. And if I'm getting strength each time, That's going to do more damage on each of my attacks, so I'm tempted to go for that. There is also Anger, 0 cost, deal 6 damage, and then once you've used it, you add it basically duplicates itself and puts it in your discard pile. So when you reshuffle all your cards, you have 2 of these, and then if you use both of them, you'll then have 4 next round and stuff. So it gets more and more and more. You get more and more damage for 0 cost, essentially, except for the fact that it's taking up slots in your hand that you might want something else. I think we're going to go for Rupture. We're going to go around a health-losing, strength-gaining build. Why not? So part of this game is learning about the different cards and what there is and remembering what you've seen before. Okay, let's go to a rest site. How long have I been recording? Don't even know. It says how long the run's been, I think, if I go to here. Yeah, half an hour top right. Alright, so I'm at the rest site. I can either rest, heal for 30% of my max health, so having a greater max health means you heal for more, which is great. I'm only 11 down, so I don't think I need to do that. Or I can upgrade a card in my deck. I'm going to do that because this is very powerful. So you can choose a card to upgrade. So if I upgraded one of my basic strikes, for example, for the rest of the entire game, this strike is called a Strike Plus, and it's green. It's got a green name, and it will deal 9 damage, and that's great. Same with Defend. I could get a Defend Plus, which would gain 8 block instead of 5. What does upgrading Sword Boomerang do? Deal 3 damage to a random enemy 4 times. That's quite nice. Whirlwind would be 8 damage to all enemies however many times, which is quite strong. Iron Wave, I don't think I'm going to do much with that. Flex will go to gain 4 strength, and then at the end of this turn lose 4 strength, rather than 2. I'm tempted to upgrade Rupture. So, that's the trouble with the controller on this, actually. I wonder if I can do it without the controller. I can't. Well, if you look very carefully when I keep doing this, you'll see on the right-hand side that the energy cost has gone down from 1 to 0. I can't hide that tooltip, sadly. It's in the way. They just need to fix that. So yeah, so I'd be able to play this for 0 cost, which is quite good. But not as good as I was expecting. I think I might upgrade the Sword Boomerang. Doing 3 damage to a random enemy 4 times is really good, especially once I've got more strength. That's going to be 5 damage to a random enemy 4 times. That's 20 damage. I'm going to upgrade that. Knock, knock, knock. Let's go. Right, next enemy. Oh dear. Right, we've got 4 horrible little gremlins. Fat gremlin, 2 mad gremlins, and a gremlin wizard. Sorry, I'm getting loads of messages. It's my... Yeah, okay. What have we got? So they've only got sort of small amounts of health each, but they're all doing a lot of things. So we're going to take 4, 8, 12 damage this turn. Except we'll miss out on 4 of them because of the buffer. 12 damage. This guy is going to do a negative effect, which I think is vulnerable. This guy gets angry, so whenever you hit him, he gains a strength. This guy is doing something no one knows what he's doing. Unknown intentions. And then this guy's the same, he gets cross if you hit him. So we want to take these down probably one by one quite quickly. If only I had Whirlwind, I could pretty much kill the lot of them. But never mind, that's still in my draw pile, we'll get it. So what should we do? I think we should gain 5 block first of all, while doing some damage. And let's do the damage not to one of the guys that gets extra strength from... that gets extra strength from being hit. We could probably kill this guy in 1. If we did 5 damage to him, and then 6 damage to him, that's 11, and then we did a final bash on him, and he's dead. I mean, we could sort of do that to anyone, couldn't we? 6 and 6 is 12 plus 5 is 17. No, so he's the only one we can kill this turn. We could do the vulnerable thing, though. but that's 2 damage, and I'd rather just do this. So, Iron Wave, we gain 5 block, hit him for 5 damage, hit him again for 6, and then hit him again for 6. He's dead. We only have to worry about 4 damage now. Yeah, in fact, 4 damage will be blocked by my block, and then the buffer thing that I've got will negate the other one, so that's great. One guy's gone. That was blocked. He's charging something. What's he charging? Probably a big attack. Oh, still charging. He's going to do something scary soon, isn't he? Okay. Right. We've got Whirlwind. I think what we're going to do is gain 2 strength. Then we're going to do 7 damage to all enemies 3 times. So that's really amazing. So that's going to be 21 damage to every single enemy. So that's going to kill 2 of them and leave the middle guy on half health. They're dead. He's still charging something, but it doesn't really matter what it is, because he won't be able to do it until next turn, and I'm sure I'll be able to kill him this turn. Right, so that's what he was charging, a 25 damage, which I don't want to take, but we can finish him off with the sword boomerang. 17 gold, and... Right, deal 9 damage for headbutt. Put a card from your discard pile on top of your draw pile. So that's nice for recycling cards that you want to get back again. Do I have any cards that I'd like to do that with? I do. I mean, I could get flex back each time. That would be really nice. So I could use a flex. Then I could use the headbutt, dealing 11 damage. And then I could put the flex back in on top of my draw pile and use it next turn. Or indeed I could do the sword boomerang or whirlwind or something. I could use one of these amazing cards and then recycle it. So it's basically just, yeah, it's quite powerful, that. Perfected Strike, deal 6 damage and an additional 2 for all my cards containing the word strike. So I've actually got 5 cards containing strike. So it would do 6 damage and then an additional 10. So that's quite powerful for only 2 energy. However, over the course of the game, I'm wanting to get rid of these because they are quite low power cards. They're low damage cards, and I can get better ones. And so I'll be trying to remove some of these so they stop taking up the space. So I don't think I'll go Perfected Strike, although in future it would be quite nice to get loads of those. Try a build like that. Finally, Battle Trance, an uncommon card. 0 energy. Draw 3 cards. You cannot draw additional cards this turn. So that's not bad. For free, I'd be able to just cycle through some of my deck to try and get the cards that I want. I might go for that. It's always very powerful to be able to draw the cards you want. Right now we've got a treasure room. I can skip the chest entirely if I want, or I can open it and find a relic, which is usually what you find in chests. Paper Frog. Enemies with vulnerable, remember that vulnerable that I can apply with my bash card, they, instead of taking 50% extra damage, they'll take 75% more damage. I mean, I may as well take that. I'm not going to be applying that all that much, but it doesn't hurt to have, does it? So the next one is a question mark room, which turned out to be a combat. Good. Right. I may as well do Battle Trance. No, I may as well not. Do I want to use the cards that I've got here? So it'd be nice to get a flex. It'd be nice to get the sword boomerang. It'd be nice to get Iron Wave. So yeah, it would be nice to get one of those cards. So let's just draw them. I got none of them. Never mind. So what I want to do is do as much damage to these guys as possible. He's planning to attack for 5. That's not the end of the world. He's intending to use a buff, so I can attack with Reckless Abandon and hurt them. So Rupture's still not useful to me yet. I'm hoping to get cards later on that will make me lose health. But for now, what are we going to do? I could just try killing him in one go. I think Whirlwind is probably my best bet there. It will kill the louse and it will do 15 damage to the cultist. Let's do it. There you go. Not bad. The only trouble with having gone through all those cards is now I can't use, say, the ones that I drew, but that's fine because I drew crap cards that I don't want to use. So they'll go in my discard pile, and I'll get, lovely, nice new cards. So he's going to do 6 damage. I can easily negate that. We'll use Flex, gain 2 strength. Then we will use, I mean, we've still got our buffer, so we could just, yeah, we don't even need to use a defend card because we'll not take damage next time we receive it. So let's just do, well, we'll use that anyway, because I've got 3 energy and I may as well use all the cards I can. So 7 damage, 8 damage, and then finally 5 damage to a random enemy 4 times. And it's 5 because, of course, I've got the extra 2 strength. So dead on round 2. Happy with that. 14 gold, a steroid potion, gain 5 strength. At the end of your turn, lose 5 strength. So it's much like the flex card I've got, but it's a potion that you can use once and it gives me 5. Well, here we've got Warcry. Draw 1 card, put a card from your hand onto the top of your draw pile, exhaust. So it lets you just sort of fiddle around with your cards a bit. That's okay, I'm not worried about that. Plus it exhausts and then I can only use it once per combat. Feed, deal 10 damage. If this kills a non-minion enemy, so minions you rarely see, they're usually on bosses. If this kills an enemy, essentially, raise your maximum health by 3 and then you exhaust the card. So that's going to be useful for the entire run, getting my max health to go up over time. I like that. And it's a rare card, look, it's got a yellow ribbon. Then there's Thunderclap. Deal 4 damage and apply 1 vulnerable to all enemies. See, that's nice. That combines well with my Paper Frog. Enemies with vulnerable take 75% more damage rather than 50. And if it does 1 vulnerable to every enemy, and then I use something like Whirlwind, that could be really powerful. I might go for that, even though Feed seems really good. See, I haven't played this game enough to know how rare Thunderclap will be again and how rare Feed will be again. I mean, it's called a rare card, so I'm guessing it's going to be extremely rare. Raising my max health would be really good. It deals 10 damage, which is nice even itself. But I have to make sure I use it quite a lot. Thunderclap's really good. I'm going to take Feed, and then hopefully I can buy a Thunderclap at further shops and things. So I'm actually going to go up this way, this route here, so I can go up and get to that shop. And fingers crossed we can actually get to it. Alright, look, we've got a Feed already. Hopefully we can get this guy down enough that we can use it on him and win. I'm going to use a steroid potion. Shall I? Is that silly? Should save it for the boss, really. Okay, so if we do 12 damage to him, he'll be on 35. I'll take him to 29, and then that'll do 10 and it won't kill him. Alright, that's fine. What I will do then is wait until Feed comes round into my hand again next time my cards are all recycled. So, let's do Sword Boomerang, and Strike, and another Strike, like that. Because that exhausts, and if I used it now to deal 10 damage, I don't get a turn later, and I need it to kill him. So we'll do that. I don't need to worry about blocking, because I've got my buffer, which prevents the next time I'd lose health. So that 12 is going to go nowhere. Here! Sounds like something from Ukulele. Okay. Damn, basically. I was really hoping that I'd have some block cards there, and they are all in my draw pile. That's a real shame. So I'm going to take 12 damage here, unless I kill him. I don't think it's worth raising my health by 3, just taking loads of damage, so I think I'm going to kill him. We'll do that, then we'll... Ooh, I don't even know if I can kill him this turn. That's going to do 8... 16 plus another 7, 23. Oh, perfect. Or I could just do 21 this time. No, we'll do 8, 16, and then 7 damage to all enemies at 1 time because I've got 1 mana. So we'll just do that. Shame we don't get to use Feed, but I'd rather not lose 12 health just to do that. So that was a bit unlucky, but it's not the end of the world. Right, we've got another choice of cards. Pommel Strike, 9 damage and draw a card. That would be good for replacing my strike cards. Headbutt, the 9 damage, put a card from your discard pile on top of your draw pile. Again, really useful if I want to recycle some of these cards, such as Feed. No, because that goes in my exhaust pile, so I don't get to use it on that. And then that Perfected Strike for all the cards containing strike again. I think I might go for Headbutt here. Because I've got the Battle Trance card, which lets me draw 3 cards. And that might get in the way of using Pommel Strike. So I'm going to go Headbutt. I'll have one of those. I don't want to bloat my deck too much. I've already got 17 cards in it. Do we fight? Or do we go to a rest site? We'll go to a rest site and upgrade a card. I'm not going to heal because I'm on full health. And what does upgrading Feed do? Still 1... Whoops, sorry. Still 1 energy. Deal 12 damage, and if this kills an enemy, raise your max health by 4. That's really lovely. And what happens if I upgraded Headbutt? Deal 12 damage. Put a card from your discard pile on top of your draw pile. Not bad. Battle Trance. Draw 4 cards. I'd like to upgrade Whirlwind, but that's also a card that I don't use all the time. Flex would be really nice to upgrade. Feed I'm tempted to upgrade, because then it really makes it count. And it does more damage, so 12 damage is great to have anyway. In a pinch. But Flex will give me 4 strength. And how powerful would that be with combined with something like Whirlwind? That would be 9 damage to all enemies X times. Or Sword Boomerang, where it's going to do, well, 4 plus the 3, so 7 damage 4 times. I think we'll go for Feed. I just want to try this out. Now it's, yeah, we're done. Might not have been the best idea, but we'll see. Ugh, gross. These things suck. Look at them. Fungi beasts. Okay, so we're going to have 6 damage done to us. Be nice to block that, but I'd only be blocking it by 5, which means that the buffer would essentially be wasted on 1 health. So I may as well not use the energy on that. I'm going to draw 3 cards. There it is. Right, now this is where we can start doing some interesting stuff. I'm going to use Flex, like that. So now all my attacks do a bit more damage. What do I want to draw again? So I can either draw Flex again. If I use Headbutt, deal 11 damage to someone, which is great, but then I put a card from my discard pile, which is here, on top of my draw pile. So I could do Sword Boomerang, because that's going to do, yeah, between 12 and 20 damage each time I use it. So I think I'm going to do this. Attack this guy for 11, and then I get to choose a card to put back on my thing. Gain 2 strength. What cards have we got left? No, nothing that's going to gain too much from that. I'm going to put shit. I meant to use Sword Boomerang first, and then put and then the thing that the Headbutt that I just used. Oh well, Flex will be the one then. Damn, didn't mean to do that. I could do 14 damage to each enemy, but I think that's going to be the way to go. Lovely. So I did 3 to this guy and 1 to this guy. And that leaves me with, I can either strike for 8 damage or I can Whirlwind and hit them both. I think we'll do that. Lovely. Well, a little bit of a mistake there because I played cards out of turn. He's only buffing. Gives him extra strength. Doesn't hurt me though. So he's planning to do 13 damage while I'm planning to kill him before he gets the chance. We'll use Flex since we recycled it back to the top of our draw pile. We'll do 10 damage with that. Make him vulnerable. 8 damage, so 14 damage with that. Lovely. 10 gold, a weak potion, apply 3 weak, so that makes them do 25% less damage with their attacks for 3 turns, because it's 3 weak. So that's really good for bosses who do lots of damage, which we're coming up to, and we've got nice 3 potions ready for using against a boss. Then we've got a card to add to our deck. Okay, Clothesline. Deal 12, so it's 2 energy, which is quite a lot, but it deals 12 damage and applies 2 weak. We just explained weak. That's quite nice. Probably won't go for that. Infernal Blade, 1 energy. Add a random attack card into your hand and it costs 0 this turn. That could stack really, really well with my extra strength that I'm trying to go for. Or exhaust a card, draw 2 cards. So that's really good if I'm trying to get through a load of cards and exhaust things. I'm not worried about that. I might go Infernal Blade. That sounds fun. I like the randomness of it. And I could get some really broken cards out of that. So again, I'm still building my deck here. I want to start removing things. And would you look at that? We're at a merchant, so I can. Here's the merchant. Creepy guy. So we go to him and he sells loads of stuff. So he sells 5 cards along the top. Oh, hello. Right, I think I know what I'm buying. And it's on sale. Brilliant. So you can see all the costs underneath in gold. I have 224 gold. So, Clash can only be played if every card in your hand is an attack. I've got quite a lot of skill cards, so I don't think I'm going to be getting that. Anger, we've talked about Anger. Probably won't get that for now. Battle Trance is quite cool. Draw the 3 cards. I don't need another one, I don't think. Shockwave. Apply 3 weak and vulnerable to all enemies and then exhaust. That's nice. Especially because oh my god. I don't know why that's happening. Never mind. Especially since our vulnerable with that paper frog is better. Demon Form. At the start of your turn, gain 2 strength. So that's going to be building and building and building. If I can get that on early. I like that. I'm going to have to buy that, I think. However, they also do 2 colourless cards, which are cards that I think work across... Because the colour of the card, like these are red, applies to this character, but I think the colourless cards apply across every single character you can play as, all 3 of them. Deal damage equal to the number of cards in your draw pile. Well, I'm not going for a huge deck, so I don't think I'll bother with that. Violence, for 0 energy, put 3 random attacks from your draw pile into your hand. That's quite nice, but only good if they don't cost too much energy, and mine are starting to. You can get one of 3 different relics. At the start of each combat, draw 2 additional cards. That's really handy to have. Gives you more options at the start of combat. Start each combat with 3 thorns, so when receiving attack damage, it deals 3 damage back. That's really nice because it helps damage people while you're taking attack damage. And then the Abacus. Whenever you shuffle your discard pile, gain 6 block. Those are all quite nice, but I don't think they sync well with what we want to do. And then finally you've got potions, which I usually never buy. And you've got a card removal service. We'll go and do this. So this is where you can remove any cards you don't want. I'm going to remove a strike card. Seems weird, but I've got other cards that I'd much rather get round to using. So having strike does not help me. There it goes. That cost me 100, which leaves me enough for a demon form, which I really wanted. And I could get something else. I shouldn't, but I could. I like the look of Shockwave, but it costs so much energy. Can we see what the upgrade looks like? Still costs 2 energy. Yeah, no, I'd rather have that Thunder Shock that we saw before. Alright, and I think we'll save our gold. Oh, that might be nice though. Having another one of those. Yeah, we'll do that. So that means we for no energy we can get through all of our cards and try and get to the ones we want. We've got full health, so we'll be upgrading again, and I think I'm going to be upgrading Demon Form. So, it still costs the same amount of energy, but at the start of each turn I'll gain 3 strength. I'm doing it. Especially with the 2 Battle Trance cards we have as well, that will let us presumably, hopefully, get to that as quickly as possible, and we can start building that up from the off. And as I say, because we've got the preventing the first time I'd lose health each combat card, that means that even though it costs 3 energy so I don't get to do any blocking or anything, I can get that up and not have to worry too much about the damage I'll take on the first turn. Right, let's proceed. We are at our first boss. Wish me luck. It's the Guardian. Uh-oh. Scary. So he plans to block on his turn. He's got 240 health, which is ridiculous. Mode shift. After receiving 30 damage, he changes to defensive mode. So that mode shift, we can interrupt what he's planning on doing. So if he's going to be attacking hugely next turn or whatever, we can interrupt that by doing that 30 damage to him, getting him down to 210. So the first thing I want to do is try and get that bloody demon form. Sadly, I haven't got it. That's a shame. So what I'm going to do instead is deal as much damage to him as possible. He's just planning to block. So that's going to make it harder to attack next turn, because he's going to have so much block, but also he's not hurting me now, so I'm going to do as much damage as I physically possibly can. We will do Infernal Blade first for a laugh. Add a random attack card into your hand. It costs 0 this turn. Just do it. Great. We've got a Twin Strike. Deal 5 damage twice. It's a shame we don't have more strength, because this would all be really helping. But we do. Gain 5 strength. At the end of your turn, lose 5 strength. I think we're going to do that. There we go. So now all of my attacks for this turn are going to deal 5 extra damage, which is going to be so powerful. Look at that. 32 damage on that, which will get him to change his mode straight away. And that's just for 1 energy. Right, great. 3 weak. Well, we're not going to do that yet because he's not planning to attack yet. We'll use that when we need to. So, 8 damage to a random enemy 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. And immediately he's in defensive mode. And when he goes into defensive mode, he gets 20 block, which is annoying, because that's going to eat up my lovely attack that I'm planning on doing. But let's get through it, and then we can finally do one last 11 damage. And that's all good. So we've got him down quite a long way already. My strength wears off. Okay, so he's defending. So he's got something called Sharp Hide now. Whenever I play an attack, I take 3 damage. So that isn't great, but there you go. We've just got to live with it. So doing lots of little attacks is going to hurt me, whereas doing few big attacks will be great. Like Whirlwind, for example, that's going to be 1 attack that does quite a lot of damage. He's planning to hit me for 9, though. So it'd be nice to have... Well, let's just draw some cards anyway. Here comes a beautiful wife with a beautiful cup of coffee. Thank you, my darling.
There you go.
Aren't I lucky?
Recording.
I'm just recording at the moment.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
Well, have a lovely time.
Thank y'all. So, if we did this, what could we potentially draw? We could draw Demon Form. Yeah, I'm doing it. Didn't draw Demon Form. We'll get that next turn. So let's make this turn count then, shall we? We'll use our flex. So we've got 2 extra strength. He's going to hit us for 9, but it's not going to hurt us because of our buffer. Unless I hit him, in which case the buffer will negate the 3 damage from his Sharp Hide. So I'm doing a lot of thinking and explaining here. I hope it's not too fast to follow. Maybe I'm not giving you enough credit, sorry. I'm not going to apply Vulnerable because that will be for this turn, where I suppose that would be quite nice to be able to do some Vulnerable. I was just thinking because next turn I won't get to benefit because I'll just be using Demon Form for all the energy I have. So I won't benefit from using the Vulnerable then. But at the same time, I've got 3 energy to use now, and doing Vulnerable applies 75% extra damage, so I could do that and then maybe a Headbutt or something. And then I'd put a card from my discard pile on top of my draw pile, which means next turn I could get Sword Boomerang. Even though I wouldn't want Sword Boomerang. It's a tricky one, this. Okay. I think or we could just go... So what would this do? This would do 10 damage, plus, what's 75% of 11? That's 7, rounded down, I think. Yeah, 7 rounded down, so that's going to do 28 damage overall. Or I could just do a Whirlwind, take a little bit less damage myself, and that's going to be 21 damage. Now, I'll do this. 19. Gosh. Right, done that. And then we can choose a card to put back on top of our deck. Again, I don't think we need to because we're going to be using Demon Form, which is going to use up all of our stuff. So I may as well choose one that I just want to recycle. Let's just use that. Fuck it. Doesn't matter. Sorry, swearing. For those of you who aren't used to my channel. Okay. We've still got those potions that we can use to make him weaker. I'm going to use that when he plans to do massive attacks. It's worth saying at the end of this, like this one, it's worth saying at the end of this, I heal up to full if I survive it. So, yeah, right, Demon Form. At the start of your turn, gain 3 strength. I wish I'd had that earlier. It's such a shame it came last, but... yeah, just going to do it. Gain 2 strength, why not? And then apply 3 weak. We might just do that to him. So there you go. He's planning to attack for 6 damage twice. And he's buffing as well. So that's going to improve his strength or something. I don't know what it's going to do. But at least he's weakened, so it's going to be 6 damage twice instead of 8. It's going to hurt. I've still got the fire potion that I can use on him for if I need to make him go into defense shift mode or whatever. Right, so I've gained my 3 strength from Demon Form. Thank you, Demon Form. It's going to help. I'd like to get through some more cards, please. Lovely. 8 damage to all enemies 3 times. Could be good. What's 8 times 3? 20 something. 24. So if I did Headbutt, I could put a card from my discard pile on top of my draw pile. What would I like to use again? I'd like to use Flex again. What I'd like to use. So... we're not going to use Feed yet because we want to kill him with it. I think then what I will probably do, because I want to defend some of this, he's going to do 12 damage to me. Let's gain some block. Not in a big rush here. Block and do some damage to him. Do 12 damage there. Get Flex back on top of our draw pile. There it goes. And finally, I could block again. No, but as I say, I'm gonna heal all my health that I lose this time anyway, so I'm just gonna hit him again. So now it's only 11 damage to go until he switches into his defensive mode. Well, I'm very happy to wait until he's got a huge attack incoming for that. Okay. Right, we're gonna flex, gain 2 strength. We're gonna make him vulnerable with this. Bash. Battle Trance is going to let me draw 3 cards. What could I get? Sword Boomerang. Yes. That's what I'm going to do. Yeah. So we do that. He's switched into his defensive mode, which is a shame because he's now got 20 block, which I don't like. So this is going to deal 22 damage twice because he's weak, because he's vulnerable, which is great. So that'll break through his block easily enough and then do more damage. So I'll actually do... what will I do? 24 damage to him. Alternatively, if I used Battle Trance and got through to Sword Boomerang, that would do... so I've got 8 strength, so that's going to be 11 damage. Plus it's going to be an extra 7 because he's vulnerable. So that's going to be... no, that's ridiculous. I'm doing it. Battle Trance. Give me Sword Boomerang. 19 damage to a random enemy 4 times. I mean, come on. Ooh, and also, Flex is in there again. You know what I might do? I might go for another one of these, hope to get... oh, I can't! Shit! I forgot that I can't... that using those mean I can't draw more cards this turn, and I went and tried using it again. I was hoping to get another Flex, so I could gain even more strength and do more to him, but that's fine. So we'll use Sword Boomerang on the poor bugger. Wow, 56 total damage there. And all he's doing is buffing. And Demon Form means we get another 3 damage, 3 buff, 3 strength. So now everything we do is increased by 9. Beautiful. Right, so he's planning to do 9 damage to us. Ha ha ha. I want to make sure this is how I finish him off. 36 damage I need to kill him with. Maybe we could do it like that. 67 minus 29 is 38. And then that does 36 damage, so it won't quite kill him. Damn. That's a real shame. Oh! This is where we can use the fire potion. Here we go. Throw that at him. Then we'll do the bash. And then we can kill him with feed, and that'll raise my max health by 4. Used up a fire potion for it, but it's not, you know, I'd rather just do that. That's good. Here we go. Of course, for each of those attacks, I took some damage, but as I say, it's all going to be refreshed. There we are. First floor down. 98 gold. An ancient potion. Gain 1 artifact. Artifacts. Oh, shit. I just pressed Y by accident and skipped choosing a card. And they would have been good cards as well. Well, you've got to be careful. It's a roguelike. Ancient potion. Gain 1 artifact. Negates the next debuff. So that can be really useful if you're going to get debuffed horribly. Right, let's have a look in the chest. I get a choice of one of 3 relics. Mark of Pain. Gain an energy at the start of your turn, but at the start of combat, shuffle 2 wounds into your draw pile. And that's rubbish because it means that I'm going to have cards in my hand that I don't want. Even though I'll have more energy to use other ones. So, yeah, especially with my 2 battle trances, that could be worth it, having the extra energy at the start of each turn. Lizard Tail. When you would die, heal to 50% of your max health instead. So that's really good if I'm planning on dying. Calling Bell. Upon pickup, obtain 3 curses and 3 relics. Ooh. So curses are horrible cards that stay in your hand and do horrible things, but you can remove them from going to the shops. 3 relics could be really powerful, but that's a bit of a random thing. I might go for Mark of Pain. Shuffle 2 wounds into your draw pile. Yeah, because I can get through those wounds really quickly. Alright, we'll do that. I like the extra energy. Oh, that's tricky. I never usually go for that one. I'm so cross I missed out on a card. I could have got the most amazing card ever. Never mind. And now we're on the city. Let's drop this a sec. How do I drop it? That's that button. Smash!